evening and welcome. It's Monday, May 23rd, regular Board of Education meeting. We are going to begin with a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I just want to make a mention for those of you that come to our meetings. Frequently, you'll see that there's been a change in our agenda. The recognitions of persons wishing to address the board has been moved to after our discussion items, but before our action items. So if you filled out a green card, we'll be calling your name to speak, and if you haven't, I'll be doing a last call for green cards when we get to that portion of the agenda. So on to items of interest, recognition, and inquiry. Board of Education members.
I'd like to say congratulations to all the graduates of 2022. I'm glad that we're going to have somewhat of a normal graduation. So congratulations to all.
Nice. Anybody else? Karen?
I'd like to thank everyone who came out to support the village. We'll work as a board to decide what our next steps are, and hopefully this will bring a more positive outcome next time. I know you as a public and as a board have our students' best interest in mind, and we'll work real hard to achieve that.
Good day. Is that it? Ms. Segula?
Yes, I just wanted to make mention, along with graduation comes all of the honors awards assemblies. And each of our schools are doing those honors assemblies right now, or ceremonies. A couple of our principals are absent tonight for theirs, and it's fun to be back and celebrating all of the accomplishments, graduation in kindergarten through 11th grade at this time of year. So congratulations to all our students.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is special recognition. Our St. Clair County Community Mental Health Poster Contest winner from Marine City High School, Heather Segura, and Deb Johnson from St. Clair County Community Mental Health.
Okay, so I just have a couple quick things I want to say, and I won't take long. But I am the director for St. Clair County Community Mental Health, and I've been there for a very long time. And I just want to first express my thank you to the East China School District for all the participation in our contest. You have several winners here. Besides Heather, we have 3 or 4 other ones, including a bookmark one that I don't think anybody told that they could come here too, because they get a little Barnes & Noble gift card. Pine River Elementary actually is the bookmark winner, second grade I think it was. We were just looking at it. But anyways, I want to thank also for the support of mental health, because as I'm sure that you guys are more than aware, the mental health needs of everybody are increasing. We're seeing it at our agency. We've increased our staff by 40-some% in the last 2 years. Because COVID did a lot to contribute to that, but just a lot of things like social media. There's all kinds of things contributing, I guess. But we are seeing definitely increases in the need for mental health services, and we appreciate the support that you guys provide, including I know that Calm Classrooms has been implemented in all the elementary schools. I'm not sure if you're doing it at any other levels. And I know that it's really happening, because I have a grandson who is in 3rd grade at Gearing Elementary, Boston, and he tells me about it, and he likes it. So I think that's a great thing. And then, of course, the first school in the district, or in the county, to implement Prepare You, which is a curriculum for high school students, was Riverview East. And I don't know if any of the other high schools have done that yet, but that is another really good thing. They have?
Yes.
Good. Because that is really good. It has a lot of core curriculum to help students in high school deal with a lot of different issues. And Michael Walling, your curriculum director, has been very supportive too, and has been inviting our staff to speak at your in-services and things like that. We appreciate all that. So I just want to go on to the winners now. So I'm going to start I'm going to do Heather last. But I also want to thank Marnie Williams from Marine City, and I want to thank Sarah Black, our teacher from St. Clair, and I think you're both here. And so, there, okay, and there. So thank you for having your students participate. We had a lot of great artwork. It's never an easy decision, but I will start. I want to tell you a few things that I brought. this booklet, there's some available for people there. We gave it to all the board members. We put this together. It's our Creative Arts booklet. It has the winners of all the bookmark contests, which is the elementary school contest we do. The writing contest is middle school students, and the poster contest is high schoolers. And we started this a number of years ago in an attempt to educate kids at whatever level they can handle our education on mental health issues. And obviously that's different in elementary versus high school. And so it's part of our anti-stigma initiative, because we thought we have to start with the younger people if we're ever going to change people's attitudes about mental health. Getting mental health services should be the same as getting getting cancer treatment or heart treatment or anything like that. People don't choose mental health issues just like they don't choose physical issues. So we're trying to change the way people think with these contests is one way. So this is our Creative Arts booklet. There's a number back there. We can always get more. We also have our annual report. There's not as many of those here if people are interested in that. These are great because they share stories of recovery, the people who get our services, highlight some of our programs, our budget, our programs, all those kinds of things. And you can see that the winning poster is on all of our stuff for the year. We carry it through everything, including billboards. But we also have these posters, and we brought 15, and if there are people here that want them for businesses or other places, we are happy to give them to you. Just let me know. And it has our access information, crisis information, because we have 24/7 crisis intervention services available. So also for that, I put magnets. We always think these are good even for kids in their lockers because they're magnets. And 24/7 mobile crisis, anybody can call. You don't have to be open for services. You can just call if you need us. So that's all there, and there's other informational things. So on to the winners. Okay, is Olivia Carr here? Olivia, no? Okay, well, she got honorable mention from St. Clair High School, so I'll let her teacher take her stop.
Can you show us?
Oh yeah, sorry. This is Olivia Carr from St. Clair High School. And then next we have Emily Demogowski, People's Choice, St. Clair High School. Emily? Oh, here, sorry. Oh, maybe I'm going to take over all the stuff. Emily, perfect, there you go. Congratulations and thanks for... Then we have Grace Mason, St. Clair High School. Something else for you? Check. And a certificate.
Grace?
Thank you.
We show us.
Oh, sorry. And then our grand prize winner, best in show, is Heather Segura. Okay, and Heather, also you did this. Don't use that. So thank you very much. And I did ask Heather, if you can see it says I'm possible. Our theme this year was the power of possibility, hoping that people will continue to know that everything's possible, recovery is possible. And we thought that was really, really kind of sort of profound. I'm possible. So no matter where you're at in your life, it's possible to make changes and things like that. So she told me first she was going to have a bunch of people painting it, and then decided with this, which that worked better for all of our marketing stuff. So it was more simple. So, but thank you very much. And she's only in 10th grade, and we've had a winner more than once from East China School District. I think it was more than 1 year they won. Not the top prize, but they won prizes. So, but you never know what can happen. So thank you very much. The last thing I didn't mention, but these are on billboards throughout St. Clair County, and I gave them, we have a few extra copies of where the billboards are located. I was telling somebody, if I had a billboard in my artwork, I would want my picture taken like near it, like Twinsburg or something. So
going there after this.
There you go. I know, it looks really cool up there. It's like you look and go, wow. So anyway, so thank you very much for letting me come present. We did change the way we do things. We used to do it at nighttime, and we decided to switch it up, and we have a breakfast meeting, which kids are in school. So, yeah. So thank you very much, and
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dawn, can we have all the students stand and hold in their pictures and get one photo? Thank you.
I'm going to give this to St. Clair. Okay. I can hold this one up for the girl that's not here. Yeah. For Olivia. There.
It's upside down.
Well, the name down here.
Can I just get one of the three girls?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. So a motion is needed for the approval of the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting on April 25th, the approval of payment of bills, financial statement, schedule of investments, appointment of the Marine City Campus, AP and AD, appointment of St. Clair Middle School, AP and AD, appointment of St. Clair Middle School principal, appointment of teachers, and the appointment of the elementary curriculum coordinator.
So moved. Support.
Any comments or questions? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Our next item is information discussion items. First up is our Bond 2020 project update. Ms. Aguila. Yes.
Good evening. I know I don't look like Jerry from AUK. It's because he had a scheduling conflict this evening, but I told him that I would stand here tonight in his stead and ask if you had any questions that I could take back to him to answer regarding the current bond projects or the timeline that we discussed. So if you do have any questions, I can take them now, or you can email them to me, and I'll make sure that AUK or TMP receive them and you get your answers, okay? Great, thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Okay.
Thank you. Next up is Andy Gleason, starting with food service contract, and then she will move on to school bus on transfer of funds.
Thank you. Good evening. So I did slip a handout underneath your agenda there that has all the numbers that I wanted to discuss this evening. The first is the food service contract. So as required by the Michigan Department of Education, school districts must submit a formal request for proposal for food service management company services every 5 years. This process was conducted in 2019, resulting in a contract award to Chartwells on July 1st of 2019. Following the initial year contract, MDE allows for up to 4 additional one-year renewals. The upcoming 22-23 school year is the 3rd renewal year. So there are 3 items that I want to discuss as part of the renewal. First is the monthly administration fee. We are seeing a 3.85% increase. Our fiscal year 21-22 monthly fee is $7,648, and our fiscal year 22-23 proposed monthly fee is $7,942. Now, these are annually, or it's a monthly fee that we receive annually, 10 months out of the year. So the increase from 22 to 23 is $2,940 for the year. Second is the per meal management fee with that same increase of 3.85%. Fiscal year 21-22, our per meal fee is $0.0543 cents. And our fiscal year 22-23 per meal fee is $0.0563 cents. Now, this management fee is assessed for each meal provided. So every time a student gets a lunch or every time a staff gets the prepared lunch, we're assessed at 5.43 cents per meal. And then the third item with the change is the equivalent meal factor. That has an increase of 4.4% per USDA MDE guidelines. And that is increasing from $3.825 to $3.99. It's an increase of 16.5 cents per meal. And what that equivalent meal factor is used for is when a patron chooses the a la carte items. So when the a la carte items hit that equivalent meal factor, for 23 will be that $3.99, meets that equivalent meal threshold, the management fee is then assessed per each of those meals. This third renewal year will be an action item on the board agenda for the June meeting. Do you have any questions?
How many meals do we serve?
So year to date through April, we've served just over 310,000 lunches and 134 breakfasts. 1,000, yes.
Breakfast, right?
Yes, through April.
And are you happy with what?
Yes, and I would, so that equivalent meal factor is for every lunch. Breakfast, it's every 2 breakfasts gets the equivalent meal factor. Okay.
It's cheaper.
A little cheaper.
Breakfast.
Yes, correct.
Have there been any issues with Chartwell's, or you guys?
No.
Is there any other companies around here that you guys have even considered?
So I was not here when the bid went out in 2019. I don't know who else bid against it. Julie, do you know when it was?
There was 2 other companies that
Were they-
walked through it. They did not choose to bid.
They didn't. Okay. All right. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to the next item, which is the second half of the handout that I gave you. And on May 16th, 2018, the district issued the 2018 School Bus Bond Series 2 for the purpose of purchasing school buses. The proceeds from these bonds, along with the Series 1 bonds that were from 2015, were intended for the purchase of 25 buses. So Series 1 was 15 buses, Series 2 was 10 buses. So since fiscal year 2015, the district has purchased 27 buses with the proceeds. This breaks down to 4 buses in 2015, 5 buses each in 2016, 17, and 18, 4 buses in 2019, and then finally 3 buses in 2021. So even with the purchase of 2 extra buses, we are left with a balance in our 2018 capital project funds with just over $300,000. So it's recommended that the board approve the transfer of $311,325 from the 2018 capital projects fund to the 2018 school bond debt retirement fund, which will reduce our future debt obligation. Any questions?
Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So we received the funds for the purchase that go into our capital project funds. We've made the purchases, and we're set to do that within a certain time period. So we've purchased everything we need. We've met the time period. We have excess funds. So what what this allows us to do is take the excess funds, apply it to the debt fund that pays our obligation to those debts. Okay, so as of right now, our 2018 school bus bond, we have a balance of $540,000. So those are due to be paid. The last payment is May of 2025. So that $311,000 would get put into that account to pay those debts.
So we'll call those bonds sooner?
Not necessarily, no. We'll still make the payments, as scheduled. It will, when we calculate our debt millage rate, it will affect that slightly.
So it works out to be a positive.
Absolutely, it's an absolutely positive
Say, is that
outcome.
for money
For the tax.
then for?
Yes, when I say that, so that those numbers are what calculates what the millage rates are. For right now, we have our 2018 bond, and then we have our 2020 bond. So,
What's the condition of the bus fleet now?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What's the condition of the existing bus fleet now?
Oh, I'm not prepared to answer that right now. I mean, we've got 27 new buses that are, what, 8 years old? The oldest one's 8 years old. So I know the average life of a bus is between 11 and 12 years.
Well, they really didn't run for almost 2 years.
Right,
So,
right, right.
did our bonds just perform better on the market, or did we have some cost savings on bus services? It's great that we have the surplus and we're able to purchase 2 additional buses.
Right, I haven't dug in to see the details, like what was expected to be spent versus what was spent each year. I mean, I know the totals. Yeah, whether it was the interest rates at the time or, if the buses were just a little bit less than what was anticipated.
Nice question.
Yeah,
I can answer that.
thank you.
It's both of those factors. The buses were less than what the estimate was, and then the interest rates were better than were anticipated at the time.
It is.
And then I would guess there's still money for maintenance for these buses.
For sure, and, well, that's in our general fund.
Yeah, that can't.
Yeah, that can't be used out of this. Yes, yep, it's very specific, has to be a very specific type bus. We looked at different options to see if, transit vans or, 15-person vans, things like that could be used, and it's very specific that has to be used for yellow buses. Okay?
We all set?
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Okay, up next is Mr. Michael Welling on the physical education offering.
Good evening, everybody. I am here to present an exciting new elective course offering in our PE offerings at the high school. This will be an elective class for 11th and 12th grade students. The title of the class is Mindfulness and Foundations of Yoga. So I am just going to kind of read through the course description, and then if you have any questions, I can get those at the end. Students will learn to utilize skills including mindfulness, emotion regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, and distress tolerance in a manner that provides a healthy foundation for successful navigation of life's challenges. The Calm Classroom curriculum will be used as a supplement to the everyday work that students complete in the classroom. Students will also be introduced to the basic postures, breathing techniques, and relaxation methods of yoga. Students will begin to experience the benefits of stretching, moving, and breathing freely as they relieve built-up stress, learn to relax, and ultimately get more out of their day-to-day life. And students will gain and apply physical and cognitive skills for reducing anxiety, improving relationships, and building resilience. And this course offering, we feel like goes really well with the overall mission of the district in trying to provide opportunities for students in today's climate to build up those coping mechanisms to deal with the stress of their everyday lives. Any questions? And again, this is an elective course offering for our juniors and seniors. Go ahead, sorry.
One semester, Mike?
One semester, yep.
Where do we sign up?
Maybe you could be a guest instructor, Pat. We'll reserve a map for you.
Is it starting next school year?
That's the idea, yep.
Have we had students register yet? Do you know?
So we kind of put out, in the initial process of signing up, yeah, we have at Marine City High School, we will have what will be a full section. I don't believe it's running at St. Clair High School as of now.
Is there any special certification teachers need?
Dave Frent is the one that will be instructing the class should it be approved, and he's kind of up to date on everything. You don't have to have anything more than PE certification, so there's not like a state of Michigan yoga cert, but he's passionate about it and is really like the Calm Classroom material, so I think that'll mesh really well.
Why only 11th and 12th graders?
That's just the way that it was presented. It may adapt after that. We're trying to get, there's a lot more flexibility at the later on in a student's schedule, and so it kind of fits with that. Our students aren't blocked into courses, but it's a lot easier for them to schedule into an elective later on in high school. So, and this is just a starting point, so it's not the end all be all. So hopefully it catches on and we can build it up. Anything else? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, our next item is our public comment section. If anybody would like to speak and they haven't turned in a green card, please do so now. The green cards are just so that we can follow up to your questions and concerns. So if you don't want to follow up, you don't have to feel obligated to put your contact information on there. It's just so that we can be back in touch with you. So my first green card is Stephanie Renewal. If you please come to the center.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Goodell. I live in St. Clair and I have 2 children that attend Gearing Elementary. I have been planning to come here for a little bit now, and I originally thought I was going to be asking why it took so long for parents to receive information about summer school. But as of today, unfortunately, May 23rd, we still haven't gotten any communication about summer school plans. There are only 15 school days left until summer, and I find it ridiculous that the parents have not been given information about summer school. How are parents supposed to make plans for summer when there is absolutely no information regarding this program? In my opinion, it should have been communicated a long time ago. It is extremely difficult in this day and age to find childcare, especially in St. Clair County, requiring parents to get things in order for summertime months in advance. This is made extremely difficult if you have a child that you know could benefit from this program and then not know what the plans are. I only know that their summer school is an option, I think, because one of my children attended last year, and I was really looking forward to hearing the plans for this year because she greatly benefited from it. But what about the parents who are new to the district or have no idea about this program? They may have already made arrangements for their children, and now they might miss out on this opportunity. Knowing that summer school was a possibility, it was around spring break when I was hoping to get some information from the school district. I have some friends that start looking for their child care for summer in January, February, so usually by spring break I'm feeling behind the curve by a lot. Upon returning from break, I emailed our school principal and asked if she had any information. She emailed me back and said that the plans were still being worked out. So about a month went by and still not seeing anything, I emailed the superintendent and I have yet to receive a response from her. I really tried to give the school district the benefit of the doubt most of the time, but this is just one example of some things that frustrated me about this school district, and number one is the lack of communication. After being stressed out too much about this and the lack of planning I've been able to do for summer, I decided on Friday to enroll my daughter in childcare and forgo the summer school. There were only 3 spots left at the child care center I enrolled my son in, and I could not risk losing one of those spots by delaying any longer. I know that I will be able to help my daughter over the summer, but I also know that there's a lot of kids in this district who are not as fortunate as my daughter to have a support system, and I'm worried that those kids are not going to have this opportunity because now it's been so far delayed at getting this information out to the public. I am now going to ask 2 questions very directly, and I want to know that these are not rhetorical questions. I say that because in the past I've made public comments and I've never heard a response from anyone. So first, why have we still not heard about summer school plans? And two, what are your plans in the future to communicate to parents in a timely manner? Lastly, I want to point out this is one of the programs being established to help make sure that no kids are left behind. And I would really love to see the school district plans be made available to parents by the time we get back from spring break. That's approximately 2 months before school ends, and it would give people plenty of time to plan for their summer and make sure their kids have a chance to participate in programs such as this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Kilfrey?
Good evening, board. First of all, I'd like to apologize for my part in the inappropriate display that took place at the last meeting. We as humans are very passionate, emotional human beings, and there were two issues that night that I am extremely passionate about. One is obviously Riverview, and the other is the far too common, disrespectful way that elected leaders treat their constituents after being elected. More specifically, that you are somehow above or superior to us, almost as if we are children. I think egos become too easily inflated by gavels and elevated seating, which is silly considering that those on this board are essentially volunteers who are paid next to nothing to make the decisions for this district. We are all neighbors here. We should treat each other as such, as the equal, regular people we are. Accepting this notion along with some positive changes instead of just doing things how they've always been done would go a long way in mending the relationship that this board administration has with parents that is in very bad need of repair. Now I just wanted to talk about Riverview a bit, because after my conversation with Trustee Krill, it became pretty apparent that a lot of you really don't even understand what Riverview is or why it works at all. And some of the things why it does work is because that school, which it is a school, not just a program, and saying it's a program is insulting to everybody that goes there. No matter how you feel about it, no matter what semantics you want to say, it's insulting. It has its own colors, its own diploma, it's its own school. But ultimately it's a family, okay? That school is a family. Every kid that goes there is treated equally. There are no cliques, there's no popular group. It's just kids going to school and trying to better themselves, trying to build their confidence and trust in themselves, but not just in themselves, but in adults and teachers, because these kids have trust issues. They have issues with authority. And that's part of the reason why that school works, is because there they call their teachers by the first name. They truly feel like their teachers are equals, and their teachers treat them like that. They don't treat them like students. They treat them like the equals that they need to be treated like in order for them to thrive. And if you throw these kids back into the high school, the same place where they had these issues to begin with, it's not going to go well. It's just not going to go well at all. So another thing that's super important about that school is that it's a separate classroom environment. You know, it's separate from the high school. It's its own little thing. It used to have its own school, but now it's kind of a wing, which is great. It still worked because it was separate from the place that they had issues in the first place. And any transition that takes place here has to have separate classroom environments. You cannot put these kids back into high schools, regular high schools, and expect it to have any kind of positive result. You guys are worried about graduation rates, worried about dropout rates. They're going to get way worse if you throw these kids back into high school. So that's part of the reason why I think, you know, the superintendent's plan just isn't going to work. You're not going to catch these kids early. The kids don't start having problems until they're, you know, in their teenage age. You know, problems, you know, with teenage angst and all the rebellion until they become of that age. So to catch this early is kind of nonsense. And also, I think you guys all need to have a conversation about why that school truly failed, because it wasn't just because of state funding and the superintendent pointing the finger at the state the whole time. is not fair because she knows, I know she knows, that there's other things that happened. There was a lack of accountability, there was a lack of oversight, there was putting a principal in place that had no administration experience whatsoever. And I'm not saying anything bad about Jason Steyer because he did everything he possibly could with the tools that he had to make it work. But he was set up to fail, he really was. And that was not a smart decision at all. Other reasons why it failed, just not caring enough, just not thinking outside the box enough, just thinking these kids can be swept under the rug like they're not as important. That's nonsense. You guys can try harder. You guys can do better. You guys need to stop going along to get along and actually start asking tough questions and figuring out what the real answers are. Because I feel like I have more answers for what happened in that school than any of you at this point, by the people that I've talked to. And that's bad. Start doing your job. Thanks.
Sean Turnaway?
President Frank, members of the board, thank you. A few things have come to light over the past month or so. A leader from the East China Parent Group has been posting that the board administration never responds and that the leader is using FOIAs as a plant to see how long it takes to respond, and then they will post on social media. Another citizen is mentioned claiming that their emails go unanswered and that they spread this throughout the community. One more citizen and elected official has been possibly accused of election tampering and slander, and even going so far as to ask if there's a way to have this township compel this individual to cease interference in a school election. I've also heard that there are 3 negative pockets of the community that are overlapping on social media. I hear that they're deceitful and both emotionally and labor intensive. There has even been talk about going after a petition author for false statements, with the penalty being up to 15 years in prison. Pretty sure that's actually in accordance with perjury laws and must be committed under oath. Maybe we all need a presentation on the Open Meetings Act as well. I brought a 21-page document by the Attorney General Dana Nessel, 7 of them for each of you, or 1 piece, sorry, which leads me into some of the definitions and questions. The Open Meetings Act of 1976 defines a meeting as the convening of a public body at which a quorum is present for the purpose of deliberating towards or rendering a decision on public policy, or any meeting of the board of a nonprofit corporation. Decision is defined as a means of determination, action, vote, or disposition upon motion, proposal, recommendation, resolution, order, ordinance, bill, or measure on which a vote by members of the public body is required and by which a public body effectuates or formulates public policy. Also, if a joint meeting of 2 committees of a board, each with less than a quorum of the board, results in the presence of a quorum of a board, the board must comply in all respects with the Open Meetings Act, and notice of the joint meeting must include the fact that a quorum of the board is present. When gatherings are designed to receive input from officers or employees of a public body, the Open Meeting Act requires that the gathering be held in public meeting as well. Decisions made at a public meeting. Now, there are reasons for a closed session. One of them being to review or consider the contents of an application for employment or appointment to a public office, if the candidate requests that application remain confidential. However, all interviews by a public body for employment or appointment to a public office shall be held in open meetings pursuant to this act. So the Michigan Supreme Court examined this provision in Booth Newspapers versus the University of Michigan Board of Regents in 1993. In that case, the Board of Michigan, the university, tried to use the application exemption to justify a closed section to compare the qualifications of a candidate and to reduce the list of viable candidates. The Booth Court determined that an OMA permitted only closed sessions to consider personal matters contained in the application. Thus, the public body cannot meet in closed session to compare qualifications to make decisions on the candidates. Public bodies should keep in mind that the exemptions may be used if the candidate requests that the application remain confidential. In addition, the OMA clearly provides that a public body may not conduct its interviews in a closed session. The court found that the sub-quorum gatherings were in fact the same as what the full meeting of the board could have achieved. The board agreed to that, and a general consensus was reached after the interviews when they all met to reduce the number of candidates. But the defendant contends, however, that it did not violate the OMA because of the sub-quorum activities of the various committees, did not constitute a constructive quorum. Therefore, its meetings did not have to be open to the public. The court disagreed. The regents at each step of the way provided significant input into the decision-making process. The board members reached a consensus with respect to which candidates were on the list and who would be the eventual elected president. The shortening of the candidate list consisted of an undisputed decision-making process that was carried out with the full consensus of the board. The court finds that these decisions under the OMA that necessarily should have been made in open meetings. With all that said, this Board of Education conducted interviews for the vacant trustee position on February 15th, 2022, right here, I believe, utilizing 2 sub-quorum interview panels made up of members of the board, the superintendent, employees of the school district, and members of the collective bargaining agreements. After these interviews, did the board members gather to discuss the candidates, and did they reduce the candidate pool? Was the general public invited? And were there school district employees on the interview panel? If so, were they part of a collective bargaining agreement?
Thank you.
Millie.
Alan Ridgely.
No.
I don't know what it is, but I would like you to,
No.
Yeah, take it back, Alan. Please.
I know you guys are scared of the Constitution, but...
Alan.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know what.
I'd like to welcome the newest member of the board, Libby, another great addition of another bobblehead for Board of Administration. Too bad there's still no voice for students or parents within the community, but just another bought and sold politician like the rest of them. So I wasn't planning on coming back to another meeting, but it's generally a waste of time, you know. But I'm a glutton for punishment. So after the conduct of officers of the board at the last meeting, I felt I had no choice. Mrs. Frank, as you may recall 10 years ago, when I gave you a copy of the United States Constitution and Constitution of the State
You know what,
of Michigan.
Alan, it's part of the Open Meetings Act that you are not to stand up here and call us out individually. If you want to say your piece, please do so. But
Mrs. Frank, that's actually not true. This is public
it's in our
comment. This is public comment. Board comment was earlier. But anyway, you know, those pesky things that you swore an oath up to uphold. After your conduct at the last meeting, it's clear that you've either forgotten or never read them in the first place. I furnished you all with a copy of the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 5 of the state Constitution. Turn to page 21, and I have a bookmarked for your convenience. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The state constitution goes a step further in Article 1, Section 5, and I highlighted it on the sheet of paper I gave you. Every person may freely speak, write, express, and publish his views on all subjects being responsible for the abuse of such right, and no law shall be enacted to restrain or abridge the liberty of speech or of the press. People have a right under this amendment and article to speak their piece and say their opinions whether you like it or not. You can take away public comment altogether or time limit the people, but you cannot limit someone for what they say. That is a blatant violation according to at least 2 former attorneys general. This was an issue when I was a member of the board and the former teachers union president and another person got up to speak and personally went after me. The president of the board in both instances went to strike them down and prevent them from speaking. I defended their right to attack me even though they were misled and wrong. I defended their right to speak, and I will defend anyone's right to speak, whether they're right or wrong. Toward the end of the last meeting, I saw something deeply disturbing, and it should be to anyone who is a supporter of freedom of speech. Mrs. Frank threatened a member of the public for comparing her and her fellow comrades to drug dealers.
That's enough.
Just being nice, but
We're
hold
gonna
on.
stop this. We're gonna
No,
stop.
no, this is public
No,
comment.
you know what, it's a public
He
meeting.
and anyone
you
else has
have
a right to
right
speak their
comment.
mind
You
to
don't
this
have
and
the
any
right-
other board. Where the real
You
rub
don't
comes
have
in is
this
where they
right.
went at the end of the meeting and end of public
Alan,
comment,
stop.
gentleman tried to speak.
Stop.
And Mrs. Frank refused to allow him the opportunity and threatened to call the police. I'm almost done. She then summoned the newly hired director of security. This man was trying to do his job. He is head of security, not a hired goon for Mrs. Frank as she tramples on the rights of citizens for her own political and corrupt purposes. In the time it took to throw a temper tantrum, storm out of the meeting, and have a 10-minute recess, you could have let him speak and diffused a bad publicity moment. But that would require you to listen to those that you serve without controlling the narrative. It is the responsibility of each individual board member to rein her in when she violates the law and the rights of people you supposedly serve. If not, you are complicit and approve of these actions that go directly against the oath you all took. Please stop violating the law and do your jobs. Thank you.
Please stop harassing Mrs. Frank.
I suggest you
the
read.
Constitution.
No, Alan, I read the Constitution.
Guys,
Stop.
just be professional. That's all you gotta do, just be professional.
I know.
And what you're doing, no, he's a citizen, he can do it. You guys
Yes.
up there are just having an elected
Okay.
duty to be professionals.
Okay.
Not talk
Moving
back,
on.
just listen. That's all you should be doing up there.
To our board action agenda items. RESA budget resolution 2022 to 23. The motion is needed per administration's recommendation that the Board of Education approves the RESA budget resolution indicating that you have reviewed and support the St. Clair County RESA budget for 22 to 23.
So moved.
Support. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next action item is PA 152 of 2011, Resolution 8020. A motion is needed for administration's recommendation that the Board of Education approves the resolution as presented at the April 25th, 2022 regular board meeting to elect to comply with Act 152 of 2011 by not paying more than 8% of the total annual cost of all the medical benefits that the district offers or contributes for its employees.
So moved.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And with that, we are